probably die earlier?
Men live longer because she makes him go to the doctor. She yells at him when he's while he's driving. I mean, it's like she's the supervisor. She's the super ego, if you will. And they're taking care of their brood. Women live less long because of the chronic stress from the men.
I literally, when I heard you say that, I was like, well, what do we do about that? Like, in fact, actually, what do we do about that?
You take care of yourself. You know, when you're on a plane and someone says if the cabin pressure goes down and the masks come down, put yours on first. And women don't do that. I have seen they take care of everybody else and they don't take care of themselves.
Good morning, everybody. What the fuck is going on with y'all? What's going on? Ran across this video. Had to chop it down a little bit because I'm not gonna upload too much content. But you know, I found this little clip to be interesting because there's like a couple of angles I want to attack this from. Now, the lady in this clip, she pretty much says that married men typically live longer and married women die earlier. And I guess single men live shorter and single women live longer. And I found that to be very interesting. And I want to just give my 2 cents or my whole dollar on it. Because, you know, I just want to like attack this from a different angle or just give my thoughts on it per se on how I feel about it. Now, as far as an older woman living, not an older woman, a married woman living longer. Again, I feel like all this shit is a case-by-case basis. Maybe there's a statistic that they're pulling this from that makes this, you know, I guess viable is the word I'm looking for. But if you had to ask me what I think, because I'm only 33, I'll be 34 next month. And I've been in a relationship and I've been out of a relationship. And I think I make better decisions inside a relationship than I do out of one at this point. Like, if I got into a relationship when I was like 24, I don't think I would have been able to navigate it as good, or whatever the case may be. Where the fuck is buddy going? I don't think I would have been able to navigate it as good. Like, I think the person that I am right now is much better suited for a relationship long term versus the person I was when I was in my 20s. 25-year-old me, 24, 25-year-old me, this would not have worked. Like, I was too unhinged, too crazy. I was doing too much. And, you know, I was not a very settled person. I mean, I tried to be settled, but when I look back at it, I think I was being settled from the point of feeling like I should have been versus, like, you know, it actually working out in my favor. Now, do men typically live longer in relationships? I believe so. Like, because me being with one woman versus being with 6, I think my decision making is better because I'm trying to figure out a way to word it. When you're single, the majority of your time is spent toward chasing women. I would say like at least half of it. Like, so the energy you put into dating women, they're trying to just get sex. The amount, like, you gotta understand something. From the single man's perspective, the average single guy, it's very hard for him to get a woman to lay with. Very hard. Like, unless you got some sort of, you know, walk around sense or you know what you're doing. Like, I compare being a single man to learning how to, like, climb mountains. Like, your first couple of mountains are very hard to climb. They're very hard to get to the top of. Now, if you've been single for a while and you've been doing it for a minute and you get good at it, eventually you become a very good mountain climber. But the energy that it takes to get women when you're single is, you have to put, you literally have to, like, flood your own market. Meaning, like, you got to be on 4 or 5 dating apps. You got to be going out 3-4 times a week. Like, you have to literally I want to say not chase, but you really have to put energy into pursuing women. It's a very, like, taxing kind of game. And I think the average guy being single is a lot more reckless than a motherfucker in a relationship. Like, I am a lot more settled. I have a lot more time to put towards shit that I think and things I need to do. I would wager to think, all right, that I'm a lot less stressed inside a relationship than I am out one. It may seem like the other way around, where guys, like, I'm a lot more focused and, you know, I'm able to do what I want. And yeah, that is the benefit to being single. Yeah, you don't have to listen to anybody. But you got to think about it. Like, when there's only one set of, like, okay, you're the one doing the grocery shopping, you're managing all the bills by yourself, you know, and being alone isn't a bad thing per se, but, you know, what most guys don't want to do is be home on a Friday night, you know, watching porn, or, you know, trying to get a girl to come over. That trying to get a girl to come over shit is frustrating. Like, because a motherfucker tell you that they want to deal with you, you know, they feel like going on a date, and then if they come around and they flake on the day because they didn't feel pretty enough that day, or just whatever other little shit that comes up from it. And then added to that, when you're single, a motherfucker don't gotta give a fuck. Meaning, like, I'm trying to figure out a way to word it. Because a lot of these girls aren't being held to shit. They just they'll say they'll plan some shit with you, and then it's just, you know, the day will come around, and it's like, oh, I don't feel like it. Like, and you keep going through that over and over again. And if you're one of these kind of guys that don't have the mental resilience for that shit, it will wear you the fuck down. Like, you have to work. You basically have to work yourself into a position to where women come after you as a single guy, for you to kind of like feel some type of like abundance in your life. Like, I don't think women understand just how much of a man's happiness is hinged on a woman to some degree. And when you're in a relationship, you got it right there. A motherfucker that's cooking, cleaning, supporting, helping you. Like, it's literally in the house. So, me being a guy in a relationship, I don't have to go even, like, I can pretty much write the rest of you motherfuckers off. Like, I don't even need to speak to you. Like, and I don't give a fuck to speak to you. Because the dumb shit that you go through with a motherfucker when you're single, and this would resonate with men in their 30s. Like, when you're 25 and you run around just chasing pussy, that shit is fun. Like, when you're in your 20s. When you start getting to that space where you want to settle down, the little games and bullshit these women be pulling when you're single is not cool anymore. Like, you don't even want no parts to do with that. So, you know, being a guy in a relationship, you know, being that my girl cooks all the time, helps, supports, and just, you know, that's a good balance to have a motherfucker to help. Now, again, when you're in a relationship, it takes the same mental resilience, but it's a lot easier to do because you love a motherfucker. When you don't give a fuck about a woman and you trying to deal with her shit in the space to fuck, you have got to want to fuck more than you want to deal with her shit. Like, the shit that comes from dealing with a motherfucker when you're single and the shit you come from dealing with a motherfucker when you're in a relationship is two different problems. So I can see why men typically live longer in relationships, because you got that balance there where it's like, you know, you got a feminine support role to the shit. You got to think about it. When you get in your 30s, and again, this is something that's happening to me personally. I've become a lot more focused on shit I want to accomplish. And being that I have a girlfriend there, I don't gotta go talking to nobody, because it's hard to like stay on task when you need to fuck. Like, it's like, yeah, you got, you know, a business you're trying to build, you're working your day job, and you're trying to get something else off the ground and chase women all at the same time. Like, and most guys can't like dial back from women enough to focus on the other shit, if that makes sense. Now, you're able to do both if you manage your time, but who really manages their time that good to do both things? Now, I want to attack this from the other end, right? And this is just personally what I think. Now, I think as a woman in a relationship, I think you have to have some inherent selfishness. Like, and I've seen this happen with my mother. Like, where she was so selfish to a point, because my dad was so selfish and my mother was so selfless, he basically drained her. Like, and my mom's a good person and I love my mother, but she gave everything she had to him. Like, you listen, as a woman, right? And I would tell my daughter this, right? Be careful about the type of man you submit to. Meaning, like, if you submit to a nigga and he's all about himself and you don't get none of that energy back, like, You don't need to be fucking with a motherfucker that ain't serving your needs. Meaning like, you know, if your needs, like, you need all the bills paid, or if your needs more of an emotional need, or if you need more support need, or if you need leadership. Hell, my homeboy was just telling me about this girl he's talking to. He, like, girl made money and she wanted him to manage her, like, because you as a man, you have that logic discernment with you, where it's like you can see when shit don't make sense. The best decisions, and I'm not saying women don't make good decisions, but typically, in my opinion, most girls don't, because it's made from a position of being emotional. Meaning, like, you're not logically thinking a lot of this shit through when you make the decision that you're making. Not saying that you can't make the decision based off logic, but the emotion tends to overpower the shit that really needs to happen versus the shit you feel, if that makes sense. And again, I watched my mother go through this. Now, I don't know how my mother was when she was like 22, making some of the choices that she made, but I know the dynamic of their relationship, and my dad is an inherently selfish person. Like, love him to death, but my dad, since I've known my dad, he's been all about himself. Like, he's always been that way. Now, he cared about me, but he wasn't kind of motherfucker that was finna miss fishing to clean the house or miss fishing to fix the roof. Like, if he wanted to go fishing, God damn it, some fish was finna get caught. And that was who he was. Now, where this would hinder a woman, in my opinion, right? You serving, like you're submitting to the relationship, but the relationship isn't serving you. Like, you're not getting what you need out of it for you. So, I could, like, okay, picture like having a bunch of kids in the house. Like, as a woman, right? You got kids and a husband. And again, I watched my mom go through this. A woman is basically the backbone of that house. And look, you can't serve so much to the point where you don't serve yourself. Like, it's almost, as a woman, you have to be a little bit of a narcissist. Like, just a pinch. Like, you got to give a fuck about you enough to stop certain shit that's going too far off the rails. Because you'll get caught in this loop where you're serving everybody else, but you don't give to yourself. And giving that type of energy to people day in, day out, and that's your life, and you don't get nothing for you, that will break a motherfucker the fuck down. Like, and I don't give a fuck how much you love, how much you give, how much you care about. You got to do some shit for you, motherfucker, or this shit will whoop your motherfucking ass. It'll carry too much for other people and not caring for yourself will practically put you in the... It'll basically put you in the dirt, to make a long story short, right? It's not good to give too much. And I understand, as a woman, you need to serve your family, but do some shit for yourself a little bit. Like, I don't know, go get your nails fixed, get your feet seen about, go to the spa, something. Like, go do something for you a little bit. Because I've watched my mother firsthand rack herself out behind a man that wasn't trying to be in a marriage. And I'm just telling you this. Like, okay, I'm 34. I think my parents had been married, I got married like a year or two before I was born, so I'm 34. They've probably been married, legally married, for 36 years at this point. Like, and just imagine what type of battering my mom has probably gone under just to make sure me and my sister turn out to be good people. Like, and you don't get nothing back from that based off the motherfucker you dating. I'm just pulling this from the most accurate experience I know. But there's a lesson in everything. And basically the point I meant to say, to wrap all this up and tie it in a bow pretty much, is to not serve a motherfucker that ain't serving you. To make a long story short, if you're gonna be dating somebody long term, make sure there's some balance the way you get what you want and they get what they want. Both sides have to really give to each other, and both people have to really serve the relationship. But, don't give so much to the point where it's like, you putting I wouldn't say putting yourself second, but like you're just sitting there and you're just getting fucked over, or you're getting beaten to the ground, or you're getting used and abused. I wouldn't recommend nobody do no shit like that. But I'll go up to this office, get this door assignment, get this paperwork, and I will holler at you niggas